Pride Month is here as we get celebratory messages from NASCAR, from the Air Force, from the U.S. Marine Corps, but not the Navy because I think that would be a little bit too obvious. But we'll talk just a bit about it now that we've actually had a full day of Pride Month. In other news, 4 gunmen are killed, or I'm sorry, not 4 gunmen, 4 victims are killed in the latest spate of mass shooting. Now, given the fact that David Hogg tweeted about this about, I would say, 7 hours before it happened, means that I have a little bit of questions here, especially when we read his cryptic tweet. So we'll talk just a bit about what's happening with that. Johnny Depp's trial is over. Johnny Depp is awarded $15 million for defamation in his lawsuit against Amber Heard. So even though I have not been paying attention to that at all, we'll talk just a bit about what's going on with that and where this goes. And Charlie Booker misleads the public with an advertisement of himself with a noose around his neck, working against Senator Rand Paul. It is going to be all this and more. Welcome to midterm season. I am Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Apparently there was an earthquake now in California too, and I'm finding out about this right now, and people are running to Twitter like, did I imagine this, or is that an actual earthquake that I felt? I mean, from what I understand, and I've never been in an earthquake before, if you're in one, you know. Like, there's no mistaking that for something else. So, anyway, we're not going to be covering that because that is just breaking, and I do need to go and figure out if there's a big casualty event, or if California's just shaking itself apart, or trying to get rid of the sodomy and the anger and the, God's sending fire and brimstone at Gomorrah, California, or anything like that. But we'll probably talk about that tomorrow if there's major news breaking about this. For now, we have got major news breaking today, and of course, good morning at heads. Welcome to Contemporary. My name is Jay Edgar, and as mentioned, we have a lot to get to today, so let's get down into it. Also, make sure you're checking out the Daily Ignoramus, the Breakdown with Birkenhoff, the Arctic Conservative, and the Porch Boys. Go check all of them out. Porch Boys will be having a bonus episode tomorrow, talking with some of their friends, the Tower Gang, I think it's called. I don't know. I don't pay attention to internal workings and LP drama. I really don't. So I don't know who these guys are. I just know that the Libertarian Party, the party that could hold up Joe Jorgensen, is kind of cringe. So we'll be talking just a bit about that and where that goes. Let's get into the finance for the morning here. The Dow spent its day down yesterday after all this hype about the fact that the futures are coming up. The futures are coming. The futures are coming. They're coming back up. Well, they didn't. Well, they did come back up. I'll give them that. But it tanked almost immediately at the start. It tried to claw its way back, and it poked its head over the top of the previous close line again. But yes, it did wind up finishing 100 points down yesterday to 32,813.23. So that's where the smiley face went throughout the day yesterday. Looking in at your Bitcoin, the Bitcoin took a significant tumble throughout the day yesterday, about noon. It just kind of tanked back off, shed out a couple thousand points to $30,130 and 20 US cents. Still over the 5-day, it's up 3.87%. So they didn't lose everything that they gained over the past 5 days, but they dumped a little bit back off of there. So That's another opportunity for you to buy the dip. This is not official financial advice. The only official financial advice that you need comes from a certain libertarian candidate who reminds you that you can only be truly libertarian if you get rid of all of your assets and only invest in Bitcoin. That's what all your LP proppers want you to know. So no gold, no ammo, just everything in Bitcoin. You're sticking it to the man then. Looking in at gas out of the Madison area. Now, remember, we were still seeing some high teens yesterday, and those days are over. The Costco in Middleton is at $4.34. The Costco in Sun Prairie is at $4.35. The rest of your Sun Prairie gas stations are also at $4.35. The Mobile in Cobb is at $4.36. The Fleet Farm in DeForest is at $4.39, and that seems to be where we're hovering around here. Oh, we got a couple here that are at $4.40. Which means that we're probably looking at about $4.60 where I'm at right now. So, I'm hurting a little bit, you guys. I'm not going to lie. This is getting excessive, and we'll continue to watch and see where this goes as we continue to be punished for voting for Donald Trump all the way back in 2016. And for making them work so hard to honk him out of office in 2020. This is our punishment. High gas prices, inflation. We need to get you back to where you were in 2008, 2009. You had it too good for too long. And you thought maybe capitalism could work. Well, let's grind you back down into it, and let's see what IBD has to say for the morning. Dow futures rise after market rally retreats on economic data, Hurricane Dimon, from Ed Carson. Dow futures rose modestly Thursday morning, along with the S&P 500 futures and NASDAQ futures. The stock market rally retreated again on Wednesday as hot labor data raised the prospect of a bigger tax rate hike, while JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon warned of an economic hurricane. The major indices paired losses somewhat, with the Federal Reserve saw slower growth in much of the U.S. Lithium producers Albemarle and Livent plunged, while agricultural plays such as ADM and Bunge fell solidly following bullish moves on Tuesday. On the upside, energy stocks continued to do well, with LNG plays Golar and LNG and Accelerate Energy. A recent IPO flashing buy signals, Callon Petroleum, shot up to near a buy point, continuing to race from the bottom of a V-shaped cup base. All three are volatile, though. CPE stock fell sharply at pre-market trading as crude prices fell. Meanwhile, the mega caps aren't leading the market rally. Microsoft stock is the only one getting close to its 50-day line. Apple and Google parent Alphabet are moving near the declining 50-day lines. Tesla fell 2.4% on Wednesday. Tesla stock, after last week's big bounce, is hitting resistance at its 21-day exponential moving average. Data storage plays NetApp and Pure Storage reported earnings late on Wednesday, along with HP, and software makers MongoDB and Viva Systems. NetApp, Pure Storage, MongoDB, and Viva rose in early Thursday on strong results, while HPE fell after slightly missing. All are considerably off highs. Meanwhile, China EV and battery giant BYD on Thursday reported May sales of 114,943 EVs and plug-in hybrids. Yet another record, and the third straight month above 100,000. Sales surged 250% versus a year earlier and 8% versus April's 106,042. BYD stock, which is not yet active, closed Wednesday at $35.75. That was still in a range from a $34.60 entry. BYDDF is in 48% deep cup base with an official $41.34 buy point. Albemarle stock is on the IBD leaderboard and the IBD 50. Microsoft and Google are on the IBD long-term leaders. Callon Petroleum and BG stock are on the IBD 50, with CPE selected as Wednesday's IBD 50 stock to watch. On the futures, Dow futures climbed 0.45% versus fair value. The S&P futures advanced 0.5%, and the NASDAQ rose 0.7%. Crude oil prices fell more than 3%. Copper futures jumped 3%. The 10-year Treasury yield declined 3 basis points to 2.9%. And remember, Overnight action in Dow futures and elsewhere doesn't necessarily translate into actual trading in the next regular stock market session. So, moving, shaking. Will the futures be enough to come back and hold this up again, or will we see another gigantic smiley face? Or even worse, a tank from the top of the futures again? We will see as the markets open. As the stock market turns, let's have a look into CNBC, and we're going to do just a little bit more finance news. Talking about the gas prices. From CNBC, stock futures rebound on Thursday as oil prices slide. Dow futures gain 100 points. From Tanaya Makil, U.S. futures were higher on Thursday as markets looked to bounce back from 2 days of losses. Futures tied, the Dow rose about 150 points, or 0.5%. The S&P and the Nasdaq climbed 0.6 and 0.7 respectively, which means that everybody's off a little bit, which tells me we might have another drop at the open. We'll watch and see. I have no crystal ball. No Santeria over here, you guys. Investors are waiting employment data. For insights on how employers and workers are managing inflation, ADP will post data from its National Employment Report at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, shortly before the Department of Labor releases weekly jobless claims. Stock futures got a lift from failing global oil prices, with WTI crude and the Brent International Benchmark both down 2% apiece. Prices slid on a report that Saudi Arabia could raise oil production following EU's ban of 90% of Russian crude. Thank you. Some relief. Biden. Hey, old guy. Old guy who doesn't know where he is. Do what the Saudis are doing. Unless you're going to come back out and say, Khashoggi, man, we can't buy from Saudi Arabia either, man. Come on. You think we can reward them for that? Are you kidding? Come on. I'm gonna take that crown prince behind the woodshed, man. I would not be surprised to hear a paraphrase of that line come from our chief executive in this country. Let's see. Travel shares that would benefit most from the falling fuel prices rose in pre-market trading. Shares of American Airlines and Carnival Corp each gained about 1%. Investors also parsed through corporate earnings results. Shares of pet retailer Chewy surged roughly 18% in pre-market after the company reported strong quarterly results. Meanwhile, HP fell nearly 5% following the slight misses on both earnings and revenue. The moves came after major indices posted back-to-back losses on Wednesday. The Dow shed 176.89 points, or about 0.5% on Wednesday. The S&P fell nearly 0.8%, and the Nasdaq retreated 0.7%. The S&P is off 1.4% this week, on pace for its 8th down weeks in the last 9. Sentiment took a dip after the J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon warned that an economic hurricane caused by the Federal Reserve and the war in Ukraine is brewing. He said his company is going to be very conservative with our balance sheet. So, JP Morgan is telling you to prepare. JP Morgan doesn't make money if you're preparing. They make money when you're out there spending like a moron. And they're out there trying to encourage you to spend like a moron. Don't worry about the inflation, just spend like a moron. If they're telling you we're effed, we're effed. So that's what we see coming off of that. Let's grab one from the Daily Wire. Talking just a bit more about the economy before we get into pride. Biden says he can't click a switch to lower gas prices in the near term. From Tim Meads. President Biden suggested Wednesday that the high cost of gasoline is here to stay for quite some time, as he lamented to reporters that it's not likely, man, that he can simply click a switch to bring down prices. Biden made his remarks regarding gasoline from the White House crafted fake Oval Office that he uses instead of the actual Oval Office because the Secret Service is tired of cleaning up the shit from his pants when he craps himself in the real one in all that historic furniture. which he reportedly uses so he can stay on script from a teleprompter immediately after discussing the baby formula shortage in the country. There's a lot going on right now, but the idea that we're going to be able to, click a switch and bring down the cost of gasoline, it's not likely in the near term. Nor is it in regard to food, Biden said. Let's listen.
There's a lot going on right now, but the idea we're going to be able to, click a switch, bring down the cost of gasoline is not likely in the near term, nor is it with regard to food.
Suffer, peasants. We can't do anything about this. On Monday, the Daily Wire reported that gas prices reached a holy shit, that's loud. Reached a national average of $4.62 per gallon, marking the highest Memorial Day gas prices in more than a decade. Americans are thus paying nearly 11% more than the $4.18 prices that prevailed a month ago, as well as 53% higher than the $3.03 from Memorial Day last year. And let me do some quick mental math here. 111% more than where we were at on Inauguration Day. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the Daily Wire added. In response to Biden's claims, the Heritage Foundation's John Cooper rebutted. This is a lie. If Biden said we're going to start producing more oil and gas in the U.S., the price of oil would go down tomorrow. I don't usually cite the Heritage Foundation for accuracy, but he's actually absolutely right off of that. Because even if we weren't going to go out, even if the equipment, because the equipment wouldn't get there tomorrow, the oil companies would spend the next 72 hours desperately scrambling to every place that they think that has oil and start exploratorily drilling and sending out places and equipment out to things that they've already found oil in. They'd spend the 72 hours, but it would drop tomorrow on the speculation. Hey, we're turning on the spigot. We're cranking it up. We're getting as much oil out of the ground as we can. All the speculators, the people who price in the crude, would look at this and say, shit. Bring it down, because we're about to get flooded and we need to have people to clear out what we have in our reserves already. As the Daily Wire has previously reported, high energy costs have been a hallmark of this admin, and experts like the Heritage Foundation's Rowe Institute for Economic Policy Studies senior policy analyst KTZed argue that Biden has done worse than nothing on the matter. He's actively discouraged investment in the industry and enacted policies that drive up costs, she explained last November. Rather than relieve regulatory roadblocks to affordable energy like lifting the Jones Act and the ethanol mandate, President Biden has aggressively deployed regulators across the executive branch to make it more difficult to explore for and produce oil, construct and operate pipelines, access financing and private sector investment, and use gasoline in cars and trucks, Tubbs wrote in 2021. And yes, as we are going up, with what happened in Madison just yesterday, I can't imagine what some of the rest of you guys are paying at the pump. I am a little bit afraid to go and look right now. I am. I'm not going to lie about it. And Biden's just saying, oh, well, there's nothing we can do. Tighten your belt. Buy less stuff. Learn to live with it. So that's what we have off that. Let's grab another one from CNBC on OPEC. We talked just a bit about this. Oil group OPEC reportedly considering suspending Russia from supply deal. From Sam Meredith. Some members of the energy alliance, OPEC Plus, are considering whether to suspend Russia from an oil production deal, the Wall Street Journal reported, citing unnamed OPEC delegates. The news, reported Tuesday, comes at a time when non-OPEC leader Russia, a major player in global energy markets, faces a barrage of Western sanctions and a partial oil ban from the European Union in the wake of the onslaught in the Ukraine. OPEC delegates are reportedly concerned about the growing economic pressure on Russia and its ability to pump more crude oil to cool soaring prices. CNBC has contacted OPEC and a spokesperson for Russia's energy ministry for a comment. OPEC and non-OPEC countries are scheduled to discuss the next phase of production policy on Thursday. Oil prices on Tuesday turned negative on the news. Thank you. International benchmark Brent crude futures rebounded on Wednesday morning, trading up 1.3% at 117.14 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate rose 1.4% to trade at 116.35 during mid-morning deals in London. This is something to actually pay attention to, because if you'll remember, it was a feud between the rest of OPEC and Russia in 2020 when we saw our 91-cent gas here in Wisconsin, and many of you saw that or lower. And it only took 3 weeks to get from where we were at, which was not bad. I mean, it's not like what we're paying now, but it wasn't at the bottom either. What the hell was it right before that happened? Wasn't it like high twos, mid twos, something like that? No, it was lower than that. But still, yeah, after they got in a fight with Russia, they went on and they turned everything on full blast to the point where the tankers and the ocean liners were running out of places to store it. Supply and demand. Plus, I mean, we were pumping excessive amounts over here as well, so we didn't really need to be tapping into what they had, but they were begging to offload it off of us, and all the gas companies and all the oil companies were saying, buy as much gas, we need the space, we need it. So, and as much as this could be your October surprise, or as much as this might actually come around, turn around, and make it easier for the Democrats to take the midterms, which I don't want to see because I know they're going to come back and do this shit again. The American people need a relief, and if it has to come this way, it has to come this way. We can't sit and make the American people suffer because we don't like the people in Congress. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what that does. And if they pull the same stunt that they did in October, or I'm sorry, not October, in June of 2020. But, well, we'll continue to watch and see where it goes. All right, and the one that's actually probably driving the majority of this, and then we'll get into Pride Month, finally. EU leaders agree to ban 90% of Russian oil by the end of the year. And just so you know, about the time your people in Sweden and Denmark, Sweden's not EU though, but Norway, your people in Germany, in Denmark, in the Netherlands come out and start to say, it's September, yeah? I'm cold. Let's do something about this, huh? That's when you're going to go start begging Russia for their oil again, I promise you. Unless we can do something in this country to actually try to offset some of the cost about this. Mr. Biden, I'm talking to you. EU leaders agreed Monday to embargo most Russian oil imports into the bloc by year end as part of new sanctions on Moscow worked out at a summit focused on helping Ukraine with a long-delayed package of new financial support. The embargo covers Russian oil brought in by sea, allowing temporary exemption for imports delivered by pipeline, a move that was crucial to bring landlocked Hungary on board a decision that required consensus. EU Council President Charles Michel said the agreement covers more than two-thirds of oil imports from Russia. Ursula von der Leyen, the head of EU's executive branch, said the punitive move will effectively cut around 90% of oil imports from Russia to the EU by the end of the year. Dude, I'm telling you right now, if I was in Moscow, I'd be going up to Vlad and saying, Mr. Putin, they do not want 90% of exports. Let us cut off all of exports. They can deal with Saudis, Arabs from Middle East. Michel said leaders also agreed to provide Ukraine with 9 billion euros, or about 9.7 billion US dollars, tranche of assistance to support the war-torn country's economy. It is unclear whether the money would come in grants or loans. Well, they're going to be told to the people that they're loans, but they're actually going to be grants. Just so you know. I've seen this movie before. It sucks. The new package of sanctions will also include an asset freeze, travel ban on individuals, while Russia's biggest bank, Sberbank, will be excluded from SWIFT, the major global system for financial transfers, from which the EU previously banned several smaller Russian banks. The 3 big Russian state-owned broadcasters will be prevented from distributing their content in the EU. And that is probably what jumped our prices up 50%, or 50 cents rather, not 50%. 50 cents earlier this week. This right here is probably where that jump came from. So that's what's happening in finance. That's what's happening everywhere around that you have to see. Let's get into the main news of the day. And of course, it's in the air. It's in the water. It's everywhere around you. It's on everybody's Twitter profile. It's on everybody's Instagram. It's everywhere. This is June. It is Pride Month. There's a rainbow everywhere you look. Although ironically not here in small-town southern Wisconsin. Oddly enough. Bigger city southern Wisconsin, yes, but small-town southern Wisconsin, not so much. So I want to go over just a couple of things that we see off here. I mean, we've all seen like the company logos, the corporate logos, everything else like that. But some of the unlikely players in this that I thought that we could have some fun with and poke a little bit of fun at. All right. From the Blaze, NASCAR issues tweets celebrating LGBTQIARRMIGIXTIXAIRMLIXAMXAORU, sometimes Y, month. From Alex Nitzberg. It's June, which means that people can expect to be bombarded by a deluge of rainbows as businesses and government entities recognize so-called Pride Month. And right on cue, NASCAR issued a tweet on Wednesday celebrating the cause du jour. I hate to say it, I know that God gave us the rainbow as a promise that he'd never do a great deluge on this world again, but, given what they're using the rainbow for now, I think they're looking at God saying, "Ha, I dare you." As we celebrate LGBTQIARRMIGIXTIMAI, sometimes Y community, we acknowledge that recent actions have not aligned with NASCAR's mission to be a welcoming sport for all. We remain steadfast in our commitment to create a more inclusive environment in our workplaces, at the racetrack, and in the stands. In response to NASCAR's post, Blaze TV host Dave Rubin of The Rubin Report tweeted, "What freaking flag is that? You virtue signaling weirdos?" Daniel Horowitz tweeted, "Reason number..." How many zeros is that? 1,000, million, billion, trillion. Reason number 100 trillion that we need a national divorce, Blaze TV's Daniel Horowitz of The Conservative Review tweeted. Laughingly pathetic, Steve Deese tweeted, "Perfect example of wokeness invading a business to the point where they have completely lost touch with their customer base." Caleb Hull tweeted, "Woke NASCAR, what the hell? What next? Woke MMA?" Harmeet Dillon tweeted, "Yeah, that's probably coming. Don't give them any ideas." The U.S. Marines saluted LGBTQIRAMIGAMAXTIYXA Sometimes Y service members on Wednesday tweeting a graphic that included bullets with brightly colored tips, an apparent nod to the rainbow symbol. We'll be talking about that separately. The Air Force also issued a tweet. President Biden, in his proclamation for Pride Month this year, claimed that the rights of the... Man, I can't get away with it on YouTube. And we're trying to keep it clean so we compete with the AM radio, folks. Man, I can't get away with what I was about to say on YouTube, and it blows. Oh well, we're not competing with them yet. Members of the rights of those queer folk over there. Wait, what are you saying, Jill? I can't say that? What do you mean? That's what I called them in the 60s. Okay. The rights of LGBTQI plus Americans are under relentless attack. Members of the LGBTQI plus community, especially people of color and trans people, continue to face discrimination and cruel, persistent efforts to undermine their human rights, the proclamation states. So, that's what NASCAR had to say about that. The SCP Foundation, which I don't know what they are, actually. I tried to figure that out before the show. But they're actually not the reason I put this tweet up here. The SCP Foundation, hey everyone, it's Pride. You know what that means? Forgetting about our war crimes because we have a rainbow logo now. But I did that because of this one here, because I recognize most of these as some of the most evil companies in pop culture that also now have rainbow logos. Vernaderer, I guess is how you pronounce that, at C No Watt says, no fucking way. Nobody, Corporations During June. The Umbrella Corporation, Resident Evil. With the rainbow. Skynet from the Terminator, which I've actually not seen. Let's Corp, I don't know that one. Abstergo, I don't know that one. Black Mesa, I think that's a Fallout one. Mom's Friendly Robot Company. VirtueCon from Austin Powers. Man Company, I don't know that one. Aperture Laboratories, that's from Portal. That was probably one of the worst ones of all. Mishima Zaibatsu, I don't know that one. Wayland Yutani Corp. Don't know that one. Building Better Worlds. RR, Shinra, UAC. Silver Shamrock Novelties. So pretty much everything over here I'm not familiar with. But everything up around here I am familiar with, except for LexCorp. And yes, these are some very evil companies, but they have the rainbows now, so they're good now. And I will agree with Don't Hunk With My Fart that the Aperture Lab one actually does look kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. I think that one looks kind of awesome. Let's do the Air Force one first. The Air Force. Happy Pride Month. We're the best U.S. Air Force by leveraging the diverse backgrounds and strengths of each member of our total force. We are committed to making the Air Force a place where they can all reach their full potential. Hashtag Pride. Hashtag Pride Month. And surrounded in rainbows, with apparently a rainbow tattoo on the saluting arm, they are hashtag Celebrate Pride. With, what is that, a surgeon? Air Force people, help me out with the rank, epaulette. I don't know that one. So there you go. Happy Pride. And the Marine Corps, not to be outdone. Throughout June, the USMC takes pride in recognizing and honoring the contributions of our LGBTQIRAMIGXTIYAMTOLALORSTLNE Service members, we remain committed to fostering an environment free from discrimination and defend the values of treating all equally with dignity and respect. Pride Month, USMC. With the helmet, with the rainbow-tipped bullets, and boy, did they get into some hot water over that one, especially with everything else that's going on around this country right now. There are a lot of people that didn't quite appreciate that. I noticed there was no naval one because I'm pretty sure that one would have been just a little bit too obvious. What do you guys think? From the New York Post, Marine Corps sparks outrage with rainbow bullets to mark Pride Month. Now, before I get into this, I pray that this doesn't happen, but I know we're going to be going pretty much right into, I think we've got a couple more here before we do that, but we are going to be going into the shooting in Oklahoma. And given the fact that it's Pride Month and all this is happening left and right now, my biggest fear right now is that the FBI is going to go and set up a shooting at a gay pride parade. I feel like that's coming. The Marine Corps marked the start of Pride Month with an image of a combat helmet adorned with rainbow-colored bullets on Wednesday, sparking outrage over the mixing of warfare and wokeness. Throughout June, the USMC takes pride in recognizing and honoring the contributions of our LGBTQIARRMIGIAYTLDXTI and sometimes Y service members, the Marines tweeted in their official account. We remain committed to fostering an environment free from discrimination and defend the values of treating all equally with dignity and respect. The message was accompanied by an image reminiscent of the poster for the 1987 Vietnam War movie Full Metal Jacket, which featured the helmet with rounds of high-powered rifle ammo tucked into the band. But instead of having Born to Kill scrawled across the helmet's camouflage cover, the updated version has Proud to Serve written on the band and bullets colored red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. That's the original. In Vietnam, the wind doesn't blow. It sucks. The tweet quickly prompted thousands of responses, with Eric Aguilar, a Republican congressional candidate in Florida, sarcastically asking, is this satire? Jason Buttrell, whose profile says he's a former Marine and Defense Department analyst, wrote, "Fuck out of here with this. We don't take political sides. We don't engage in social commentary. We kill the enemy. Period." User Hannibal's Barca snarked, "Getting killed with a rainbow bullet is so progressive." Yeah, that was probably not the best way to go and do that. That was probably not the way to give people your support. Now, I don't care. A lot of my friends are much, much more Christian conservative than I am. I am not. I don't care what you do. Who you screw, how you pee. I don't care about any of that. As long as you don't ask me to put it in the butthole, or even worse, ask me to put it in my butthole, we're good. Do what you want to do. Do what makes you feel best. At the end of times, it's between you and God. But this woke virtue signaling about this, and, like the Marine Corps said, them taking sides, doing social commentary, which they're not supposed to do. And all these billion-dollar corporations that have spent $100,000 making their logo with a rainbow back over it in just the proper way to do it. Because they want more of your money. What a joke. From Texas. Texas defeats Biden. Judge won't dismiss lawsuit on LGBTQIRAMIGIAXTCSNY issues. From Hank Berrien. A Texas judge denied the Biden admin's effort to dismiss Texas's lawsuit, targeting the Equal Opportunity Employment Opportunity Commission, which has issued a controversial guidance allowing exceptions for LGBTQIRAMIGIAXTIYAB employees from workplace policies. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has issued guidance in March of 2020 that mandated mixed-use bathrooms, gender pronouns, and dress codes in the workplace. The Brandon Admin's Health and Human Services had issued guidance against Texas's child abuse laws and sex change procedures. The federal government asked the judge to dismiss the case for several reasons, including the claim that the Supreme Court's interpreted sex discrimination to include gender identity as well as biological sex in Bostock versus Clayton County, and that these guidance documents were only summaries, not binding rules, the Texans reported. The Biden admin's constant attack on Texas values will not be met without a fight. Ken Paxton said, "We stand by the law of the land and will not bend to Biden's empty threats that twist the U.S. Constitution. We will protect our children from life-altering procedures that put their lives at risk. Texans will also not be bullied to adopt the Biden admin's sexual ideology. I look forward to our day in court." So they're taking it. We'll see what happens with it, but no, they're not just going to go back and dismiss it and say, "Oh, it's all over already." And lastly, Indiana town cancels drag show advertised as family-friendly after one post from Libs of TikTok. Huzzah! From Carlos Garcia. The popular Libs of TikTok account caused the cancellation of a drag show in Jasper, Indiana, that was advertised as family-friendly. The drag show was part of an event dubbed as Pride in the Park and organized by the Dubois County Pride Communities in conjunction with the city of Jasper. Libs of TikTok posted a screenshot of the advertisement from the group and noted that they encourage children of all ages to attend and also asked for everyone to bring money to give to the drag show performers. There's the tweet. In Jasper, Indiana, a Pride event with drag queen performances is being advertised for all ages, and they're encouraging kids to bring cash to tip the drag queens. Family-friendly drag show. Pride in the Park. The tweet garnered nearly 1,000 retweets and more than 3.6 thousand likes. On Twitter, on Wednesday, the group announced in a Facebook post that the drag show was canceled. "We regretfully announce that due to the safety and security concerns, the family-friendly drag performance planned for Pride in the Park has been canceled," read the statement. The decision was jointly made by the City of Jasper, 1, Dubois County, and the Dubois County Pride Committee, the statement continued. "While the Dubois County Pride Committee is disappointed by this development, we are in no way deterred. Our mission to promote and advocate love and equality remains steadfast." Well, it looks like you're kind of deterred, actually. And actually, it looks like you're deterred. You stopped one event, and hopefully we stop a few more of these because, and again, here's the thing. If you want to march and make a parade where you as a man and your husband hold hands in the parade, clothed and dressed, have fun. If you want to have a parade where you as a woman and your girlfriend want to kiss because the crowd chanted for you to kiss, have fun. I probably won't go. In fact, I'll probably sit here in front of this microphone and make fun of you for it. But you've got thick skin, right? You can handle that. Or you can just choose not to tune into my program. There's that option too. But do I have to constantly be bombarded by images of a man in chaps with a bright orange dildo up his ass and a bigger black one sticking out of the top of his helmet. And furthermore, can we leave the kids out of it? Now again, as progressive parents, if it was Dave and Steve walking down the road holding hands, that would be an appropriate parade for kids. But the over-sexualized nature of drag, because they are caricatures of women when they dress in drag, I don't think that's child appropriate. But, who am I to judge, I guess? Maybe you just like walking around and letting everybody see you walking around with a dildo in your ass. Alright, let's go talk about something that doesn't make me want to call back down the second deluge. Sorry, Nephilim. David Hogg, and it's the timeline of this. This is why we're starting with this. The timeline of this. David Hogg tweets out 23 hours ago. So about 9:30 a.m. Central Time is when this actually got tweeted. We can actually go and look and see when this got tweeted. The next shooting is already being planned. Senators should be mindful every day and wait for the Americans. Every day they wait to act, Americans die. And this is before I made the connection on the timeline. I didn't look at the timestamp on this. When I quote tweeted this and said, "Does the FBI know you're giving away spoilers?" Let's see, when exactly did he tweet this? 8:24 a.m. So about a minute ago, for 24 hours ago, June 1st, 2022. The next shooting is already being planned. Well, we got it. From News Channel 8, 5 dead in shooting at St. Francis Medical Building. And this is the one that gives us the earliest timeline. From Kelly Morris, Megan Butler, Savannah Sinclair, and Corey Smith, KTUL. St. Francis Health System has released the following statement concerning the shooting. St. Francis Health System is grieving the loss of our members of our family. As a faith-based organization, the only recourse we have at this moment is to pray while we navigate this tragedy. And of course, it's at a faith-based organization. Out of respect for the families, we are not commenting on or releasing the names of those lost or injured at this time. We are sincerely thankful for the quick response by the Tulsa Police Department, first responders, and EMS agencies, and our deepest gratitude extends to the members of our own St. Francis family who cared for their own during the incident. To allow our staff and caregivers the opportunity to process today's tragedy, all Warren Clinic employees in Tulsa and Broken Arrow scheduled before noon tomorrow have been canceled. Additionally, the Warren Clinic orthopedic offices in the Natalie building will be closed until further notice. We ask that you please pray for the employees and physicians of the St. Francis Health System. Let's see. St. Francis System says that all Warren Clinic appointments scheduled before noon on Thursday in the Tulsa Broken Arrow area have been canceled. We saw that. Police have reopened Yale Avenue. But the reason that I started with this one here is because we'll be listening to this in just a moment too. But this has the actual time when this happened. So, Hogg tweets out at 8:24 a.m. yesterday, the next shooting is already being planned. Senators should be mindful every day they wait to act. Americans die. And then there's a shooting. Police said they arrived at 4:56 p.m. within a few minutes of getting the call. The shooting took place on the second floor of the Natalie building at the St. Francis Hospital. So, what is that? 9 hours later? 9 hours! After Little Pencil Neck Hogg decided that he needed to tweet that out, we're up to another shooting. And I mean, he would know when there's going to be another shooting planned. His dad is probably the one who orchestrates them. That's probably why he's so famous. Let's listen to this.
very, very soon, and we'll get more information
Or some of this.
about the situation.
Okay,
They're setting up right now.
Let's go there now live.
Pretty limited. I will attempt to take some questions after everybody has spoken, but giving you that warning ahead of time, the information is still very new and very limited. At 16:52, 4:52 hours, our dispatch received a call of an active shooter at the Natalie Medical Building at 6457 South Yale Avenue. We had officers arrive at the location at 4:56, so a 3-minute response time, and made contact with victims and the suspect at 5:01. And that was them making their way to the second floor. The officers that did arrive were hearing shots in the building, and that's what directed them to the second floor. Right now, we have 4 civilians that are dead. We have 1 shooter that is dead, and right now, we believe that is self-inflicted. Officers have not been interviewed, but we're certain that's a self-inflicted gunshot wound on his part. The scene is fairly limited to one section of that floor on the second floor, and officers are currently and detectives interviewing witnesses that were throughout the building, and especially those on the second floor. No officers were injured. We have a reunification center set up at Memorial High School in the auditorium on the north end of Memorial High School for families that may have had somebody in this building at the time and have not been able to make contact. That is a location they can check in with for information. Right now, the suspect, we do not have an identity. That we believe we're getting close on the identity of the suspect. He is a black male, estimated to be 35 to 40 years old, and we have confirmed he had 1 long gun, a rifle, and 1 handgun on the scene at the time. That's what I have, and I will turn it over to.
Can we get?
I'll come back for those questions.
Okay, thank you.
What was yours?
Well, you said 5 people total dead.
Yes, 4 innocents, 1 shooter.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm Dr. Cliff Robertson. I'm the CEO of the St. Francis Health System.
So those are the main details off of this. Yeah, it looks like no information on the motive right now. No information on the identity of the offender. Rather, no, I almost said officer. Which offender, officer? How could you actually tell the difference, really? But that's all they know as of. I don't know when this video was put up here. But let's look into a little bit more of this here from Fox 23 News. 4 victims, shooter dead from St. Francis shooting, from Dana Nickel of Fox 23. St. Francis released a statement Wednesday night saying, St. Francis Health Systems is grieving the loss of 4 members of our family. Tulsa police confirmed 4 victims have died from the shooting at St. Francis Natalie Medical Building. The shooter died by suicide. Police told Fox 23 the shooter had intent and he came to the building looking for someone specific. Northbound Yale has reopened to through traffic near the St. Francis. Southbound Yale is still closed. A Tulsa police officer who is inside the building say the shooting happened on a lower floor. The victims appear to be dressed as a doctor and a nurse, but their official titles are not known at this time. Police are urging the public to avoid the St. Francis area at 61st and Yale. All roads to this area are closed. Earlier Wednesday, police responded to a call about a man armed with a rifle at a Natalie Medical Building at St. Francis Hospital. This call turned into an active shooter situation. So, we are approximately 10 days after, 9 days after Uvalde. 8, I'm sorry, because this happened yesterday. So we are 8 days after Uvalde. It's a public place where people are mostly helpless, and it's a firearm-free zone, and shooter used a rifle. What do you want to bet that he just passed a background check a couple days before? What do you want to bet that the name of this person isn't getting released because 4chan will go through and dig up everything about this person, just like they have for the last 2 times? Officials are going through every room in the building, floor by floor, to check for additional threats. Police say the reunification area for families is at Memorial High School. St. Francis is confirmed that they are not closed. If anyone is in need of medical attention, their ER is still open. So, if you're in Oklahoma, if you're in Tulsa town, and you break your leg, you can still go get that taken care of, but 8 days later, 9 hours after David Hogg tweets that the next one's being planned. Let's see, is there any new information off of this? NBC News. 4 killed in shooting, gunman also dead. Gunman is described as 35 to 40 years old and armed with a rifle and handgun. Appeared to have died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. As many as 10 people could have been wounded in the shooting. No injuries were considered life-threatening, he said. So it looks like this guy went on a spree. Come on. Fuck it. Let's see. The shooting occurred just shortly before 5 p.m. in the Natalie building, inside of an orthopedic facility on the building's 2nd floor. Doug Leash has said. So, a little bit of detail there. Not much, but a little bit. And looks like this is all the news that we have. Some chopper footage as well for this. Maybe. Maybe not. Looks like there is some other development going on with this, though. Oklahoma Highway Patrol and Muskogee Police Department. Officials are investigating a possible bomb at Muskogee home that may be connected to the shooter. A Muskogee police official said Tulsa police notified the MPD that the shooter may have left a bomb at a residence in the 3300 block of Park Place North, according to Tulsa base station KJRH. Muskogee police evacuated the residence and asked people in the area to remain inside their homes. The Highway Patrol's bomb squad was called to the scene. A warrant is being obtained to search the home. Can we actually get the chopper video? I'm going to go with a no off of that. So if you're in Muskogee, be aware. And with that, I mean, there's no other information that we have other than the fact that this happened 8 days after the last one, which was 13 days after the one before that. And David Hogg tweeted about it right before it happened. Whoopi Goldberg has something to say to you. Whoopi is ready to lock up AR-15 owners. Whoopi Goldberg let loose on AR-15 owners for a 2nd day in a row, saying during Wednesday's broadcast of The View that it was time to outlaw the AR-15 and report anyone who owned one. Goldberg began her rant by saying, as she has many times before, that the AR-15 had to go. When guest host Tara Setmeyer argued the potential shooters would just use handguns like the ones used in Virginia Tech. Shh! We don't talk about Virginia Tech. That doesn't have the scary rifle in it. If we address handgun violence, we have to address what happens in the neighborhoods that aren't white. We can't do that. Goldberg appeared to suggest that that would be an improvement because handguns don't turn people to dust.
about what's going on here that's
But the
leading
first
them to
thing
that.
you
But
gotta
whether the
do
guns-
is keep
the guns. Yes,
keep
but
the guns out
I understand. Listen, I
Yeah.
understand that, but
Yeah.
it's not as easy when you have a country that has more guns than people. You're
well,
not
it
going to
is.
be able to
It
just
actually
ban
is
all
easy.
the guns.
It is easy, but the things that you could say to people, which we don't say on this show, the things you could wish on people that we don't wish on this show to people, because we know we've all met people who have had to deal with the death of a loved one at the hands of a gun.
100%.
And you can say, well, I wish they had more mental health checking, but people who don't see the need to remove one gun, the people who don't see a need to remove that will never see the need to make sure that people get the help.
The other side of it is that even if you remove the AR-15, then they can use handguns. Virginia Tech, the guy used handguns.
Yes, but you know what? Let me tell you, a handgun does not turn people to dust.
That's true. I agree with you.
And again,
Neither does an AR.
That's why it's
start with the first thing that can eliminate a child. You know how big a child's body is?
Wait a minute. We heard from, I think, both of you yesterday, the statistical information of the time that these things were banned, and then what happened afterwards when the ban was lifted.
When they were banned, the numbers of mass shootings did go down. There's a correlation. When the ban expired, they spiked.
It's the guns.
Correlation.
It depends on how you define mass shootings, because you still have people shooting in the inner cities. It's different than this.
It's one gun. We're saying take one gun out of the plethora of guns that are out there.
So then what happens to the black market then? So we say we ban the AR-15. There are more AR-15s are the most popular weapon in this country.
Well, you know what, Tara? I'll tell you what happens.
I'm just saying
I'm going to tell you what happens. The same thing that happens that is being threatened to women who decide maybe I need to go talk to somebody about an abortion, where they say report them and we'll put them in jail. That's what. You get AR-15.
There you go. If you have an AR, it should land you in jail. While I was listening to this dribble, well, I had to do something to keep my intelligence up. I did look up just a cursory Google search on what happened in Tulsa, and it looks like still at this point, the only new development that they've had off of this is the fact that it was just madness inside, and that they are expecting new developments as of an hour ago from KOC05. So we'll probably be talking a lot more about this tomorrow. Let's keep going. On the other side of this, guns for teachers. Ohio State House passes bill. DeWine looks forward to signing it. From Maeve Walsh, Mark Feuerborn, Karina Chung, and Daniel Griffin. An Ohio bill allowing education staff to carry guns in schools with reduced training is on its way to Governor Mike DeWine's desk. If you are a government employee, I advocate for more training for you. If you're a private citizen, yes, absolutely, less training. But if you're a government employee, no, you get more training. You chose to work for the government. On the heels of a mass shooting at a Texas elementary school that left 21 people dead, the bill was fast-tracked through the State House on Wednesday, with the Senate voting 23-9 in favor of the bill and the House approving it just hours later with a 56-34 vote with 9 abstentions. The bill, House Bill 99, allows any adult in a public or private school to carry a concealed firearm in the school safety zone if a district chooses to do so without the 737 hours of peace officer training required by current law. The bill, sponsored by Rep. Thomas Hall, passed in the House in November with a 59-33 vote, but was returned to the House for a concurrence vote after the Senate's passage. DeWine said in late May that he asked the Ohio General Assembly to pass the bill to implement adequate, scenario-based training for educational staff. After the bill passed through legislature, DeWine issued the following statement. Last week, I called on the General Assembly to pass a bill that would allow local school districts, if they chose, to designate armed staff for school security and safety. My office worked with the General Assembly to remove hundreds of hours of curriculum irrelevant to school safety and ensure training requirements were specific to a school environment and contained a significant scenario-based training House Bill 99 accomplishes these goals, and thank God, and I thank the General Assembly for passing this bill to protect Ohio, children, and teachers. I look forward to signing this important legislation. Okay, I can get behind this. Because most of these people are not going to be going out into a concert crowd to be a peace officer, a hospital to be a peace officer. They're looking for a specific scenario-based training. Okay, I take back what I said. I can get behind this. Although still, I want government employees to have more training than your average person because they are government employees. The price you pay, the toll you pay for going and working for the great evil that is the government. The training breaks down as follows: 18 hours of general training, 2 hours of handgun training, 2 hours of additional general training, and 2 hours of additional handgun training. If any district is going to pursue this option, then you have to make sure the staff are adequately trained, and this bill really guts training requirements, and that's our number one concern, DeMauro said. Well, again, it's situation-based. It's something for a specific situation, and cutting out the hours and hours and hours of training that is never going to apply to these people. So, and additionally, the other side of that is if a teacher wants to go out and get the full training for a side gig, a side hustle. I know teachers don't get paid all that well. Or has already been trained for those, and that should be enough of a waiver because it's above and beyond the training required for schools to say, hey, I've already got this training. I want to protect the kids. From the BBC, the thing that's been on everybody's minds for the last few weeks, except for mine, because they really don't do is a lot of celebrity drama, but I know that a lot of you guys wanted to hear about this, so let's talk just a bit about this. From the BBC, Johnny Depp has won his defamation case against ex-wife Amber Heard, who sued over claims of domestic abuse. And we've got a few talking about this. Legal victory for Johnny Depp after he and Amber Heard found liable for defamation. From Sonia Moog. A jury has found both Amber Heard and Johnny Depp liable for defamation in their lawsuits against each other. The jury awarded significantly more damages to Depp, a legal win for the actor. Depp sued Heard, his ex-wife, for defamation over a 2018 op-ed she wrote for the Washington Post, in which she described herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse. Though Depp was not named in the article, he claims it cost him lucrative acting roles. Heard countersued her ex-husband for defamation over statements Depp's attorney made about her abuse claims. The jury found that Heard defamed Depp in 3 separate statements in the Washington Post piece, and that Depp defamed Heard with one statement his attorney made. The jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. The jury awarded Heard $2 million in compensatory damages and no money to punitive damages. Yoshi, do we have a new name in here? We do. The verdict is a tremendous legal win for Depp, a repudiation for Heard, according to CNN legal analyst Joey Jackson. It's a tremendous victory, Jackson said. What he had to overcome was a First Amendment issue, which is that we all have the right to express our thoughts and opinions. What they, the jurors, said was that, yeah, you do have the First Amendment right, unless you say something that's false that injures someone's reputation and causes damages to them in their industry. David Shane, a spokesperson for Heard, said that she plans to appeal the verdict. I'm sure she does. Heard kept her eyes down in the courtroom as the verdict was read. Depp was not present in court, but released a statement that said, in part, "The jury gave me my life back." From the very beginning, the goal of bringing the case was to reveal the truth, regardless of the outcome. Speaking the truth was something that I owed my children, and to all those who have remained steadfast in their support of me, he said, "I feel at peace knowing that I have finally accomplished that." Depp's attorneys on Wednesday thanked the jury and said it's time to turn the page and look into the future. So I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I know absolutely nothing about this. Because honestly, I didn't care. I know one of the things that was brought up to me at a certain point talking to my cousin, and actually really bringing this forward and talking about the fact that this should affect me because of the way that my ex-girlfriend treated me when she legitimately tried to convince me to kill myself. Not just a passing something over online somewhere, but an actual legitimate attempt to talk me into that. That this is something I should pay attention to, because there is a level of, allegedly, of spousal abuse going in Heard's direction to Depp. Which, again, I don't know, but regardless, yes, this op-ed did cause injury, did cause an ability, especially during the Me Too era, for Depp to be able to get work. So that's what we see for that. Let's look at one from NBC. This is video only. I don't know what's happening here.
And again, their theory is that all of this is a lie. All of this.
In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Mr. Depp's claim against Ms. Heard. 1. As to the statement appearing in the online op-ed entitled, "Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," in the Washington Post online edition. Quote, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that, question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false? Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes. 2, as to the statement appearing in the op-ed entitled "A Transformative Moment for Women" in the Washington Post print edition and the online op-ed, "Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," in the Washington Post online edition. Quote, "Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out," end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that, question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes.
So there is, I mean, that's a lengthy read, definitely. It goes on for almost 9 minutes, but it does look. And, I mean, if you're going to publish something like that, you are going to injure somebody. And I don't know what happened in that house either. I've heard a lot of poop jokes. I've heard a lot of turd jokes. Apparently, the defense shit the bed just as much as Amber Heard did. I don't know anything about this. Again, it's celebrity stuff. But some more going in with this. What happened if she can't pay the $15 million judgment? This is Money Watch from Amy Peachy. A jury found that Amber Heard guilty of defaming ex-husband Johnny Depp and has ordered her to pay $15 million in damages, posing financial risks for the 36-year-old actress, according to experts. Although Heard's wealth is unclear, she has earned millions for her work in TV and films, such as Aquaman and Aquaman 2. She previously received $7 million settlement from Depp after their 2016 divorce, which she pledged to donate to charities, according to the American Civil Liberties Union. During the trial, she said she hasn't yet fulfilled the pledge because of Depp's lawsuit. But testimony during the trial suggested that Heard's career had stalled due to the legal battle. Depp, according to Newsweek, that may raise questions over whether Heard's pockets are deep enough to cover the damages that included $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages, although the latter was reduced to Virginia's cap of $350,000 on such awards. While Heard could appeal the verdict, she would have to post a bond for the full $10.35 million, plus interest as the appeal proceeds, according to the attorney Sandra Spurgeon of Spurgeon Law Group in Lexington, Kentucky. For an individual who doesn't have the ability to pay the judgment and no ability to post the bond, then there's a real issue for the winning party intends to execute the judgment, Spurgeon told CBS Money Watch. By comparison, the jury awarded her $2 million in the lawsuit. Depp, 58, earned as much as $650 million over the 13-year period, according to The Hollywood Reporter. So, a former manager and agent testified during the trial on his spending, such as $300,000 a month on full-time staff, had eroded his wealth over time. Heard didn't address the financial terms of the verdict in a statement that she published on Twitter on Wednesday afternoon, in which she expressed disappointment at the jury's decision. Here are Heard's options following the highly publicized verdict. Number 1, appeal. Number 2, wage garnishment. And number 3, file for bankruptcy. Bankruptcy would eliminate the $10 million compensatory damages, but she'd still be on the hook for $350,000. Which generally can't be discharged in bankruptcy, but, I mean, for an Aquaman 2 actress, that's a flash in the pan. And Depp could decide to waive the judgment, coming out saying, hey, I make enough money. I don't need this money from you. These are all options. I would actually probably anticipate that Johnny Depp would probably waive the judgment, if it was me. I mean, $15 million, he makes more than that for the opening scene of a movie. He gets more than that for royalties for Pirates of the Caribbean. Really, honestly, for him, I would probably, if I was sitting in that same situation, and I was suing a C-list actress, I would look back outside of this and say, you know what? I got my good name back. Keep your money. I don't need it. I make more than this for a 15-minute segment on Conan. I just wanted my good name back so I could continue to have 15-minute segments on Conan. Hashtag #MeTooIsDead. Celebrities react to Depp verdict. Celebrities took to social media Wednesday to react to the jury verdict in Johnny Depp's favor, which found that Amber Heard had defamed him in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed. After the verdict was made public, celebrities and conservative commentators like the former View co-host Meghan McCain shared their reaction to the jury finding the Aquaman actress had knowingly defamed the Pirates of the Caribbean star, awarding Depp $15 million. The jury also awarded her $2 million on the defamation claim. Hashtag #MeTooIsDead, McCain tweeted to her hundreds of thousands of followers. Hell of a job, ACLU. Megyn Kelly got onto this and said, don't be fooled by her one claim prevailing. This was a total defeat for her. All the jury did was say that Depp misled about her messing up a hotel room. They rejected virtually everything she testified to, that she's been lying about Depp for years, that she maliciously tried to destroy him. Clay Travis says Johnny Depp has been awarded $15 million in defamation damages, effectively bankrupting Heard. Holy cow. Heard gets $2 million for a defamation claim against Depp's agents, appeal likely coming, but this likely represents a symbolic end to the Me Too era of believing all women no matter what. While Amber Heard was hit with a $15 million verdict for defamation, we shouldn't overlook the fact that the Washington Post, where democracy goes to die in darkness, published her defamatory lies as editing and posted a headline to this piece. The jury has now officially determined they published fake news. Chris Ryle Wright says, every Depp versus Heard story I've seen on BBC has patently framed AH as the victim, and Depp supporters are dangerous or misguided. And they are still at it today on Radio 4. This is why it was important to televise the trial. No one who watched it is buying it. Hashtag justice for Johnny Depp. And yes, a slew of other people that are either saying that Amber Heard just destroyed Believe All Women, or that the Washington Post should be sued for this as well, and they're on the hook for it as well. Which, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the Washington Post getting taken down a peg, but that's just me. Let's see. Let's go talk about Charlie Booker. Kentucky U.S. Senate candidate Charles Booker wears a noose in a new campaign ad. From WLKY Digital Team. Charles Booker, the Democrat candidate for U.S. Senate, has released a new ad, and it starts with a warning. It says this video contains strong imagery. Viewer discretion is advised. Then it shows a noose, which Booker later puts around his own neck while talking about the history of lynching in Kentucky. It used to kill my ancestors, he said. Booker is the first black man to receive the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate in Kentucky. In the ad, he says current Senator Rand Paul single-handedly blocked the Anti-Lynching Act from becoming federal law in 2020. However, Paul did co-sponsor an amended version of anti-lynching legislation this year that became law. Booker also brings up Paul's criticism of the Civil Rights Act years ago in the Courier-Journal. I like the Civil Rights Act in the sense that it ended discrimination in all public domains, and I'm all in favor of that, he said in 2013. I don't like the idea of telling private business owners I abhor racism. I do believe in private ownership. Read more on this from CBS News. Paul released the statement following the statement in response to the ad. Dr. Paul worked diligently to strengthen the language of the legislation and is a co-sponsor of the bill that now ensures that all federal law will define lynching as the absolutely most heinous crime that it is. Any attempt to state otherwise is a desperate misrepresentation of the facts. Well, let's watch the ad.
The pain of our past persists to this day. In Kentucky, like many states throughout the South, lynching was a tool of terror. It was used to kill hopes for freedom. It was used to kill my ancestors. Now, in a historic victory for our Commonwealth, I have become the first black Kentuckian to receive the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate. My opponent, the very person who compared expanded health care to slavery. The person who said he would have opposed the Civil Rights Act. The person who single-handedly blocked an anti-lynching act from being federal law. The choice couldn't be clearer. Do we move forward together? Or do we let politicians like Rand Paul forever hold us back and drive us apart? In November, we will choose healing. We will choose Kentucky.
Yo. I'm pretty positive that this is just going to piss off your constituency. I think that was I'm sorry, that was a bridge too far. I think you maybe should have rethought that one. You should have left that one on the cutting room floor. Holy shit. Rolling Stone had to get in on the action. Democrat wears noose in campaign ad to call out Rand Paul for blocking an anti-lynching bill that he later co-sponsored. The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act passed through the Congress in March, with all but 3 Republicans voting for it in the House of Representatives and the Senate approving it unanimously. The bill, which designates lynching as a hate crime punishable by up to 30 years in prison, on top of the life that you already fucking got. Dang it! Would have gone into effect sooner if Rand Paul didn't single-handedly block its passage in the summer of 2020, just days after St. George Hellaby, his name, was murdered by police in Minnesota. Paul is up for re-election this year, and though he voted in favor of the version of the bill that passed earlier this year, Charles Booker is calling out his initial objection to making lynching a hate crime. Paul's opponent, who is black, released a video ad on Wednesday in which he puts a noose around his neck. The pain of our past persists to this day, Booker says. In Kentucky, like many states throughout the South, lynching was a tool of terror. It was used to kill hopes for freedom. It was used to kill my ancestors. Yeah, we watched the video already. I think we are actually going to skip this one because we've looked into why it was misleading. So let's keep going. Here's nothing to see here from my neighbor to the west. Breaking, massive fire breaks out an egg farm that supplies to big supermarkets. Hope you didn't like eating those eggs, because it's going to be up to $5 a dozen now. The fire broke out Saturday night, causing major damage to where 20,000 chickens were killed. The farm was selling more than 3 million eggs a day to nation's largest stores. 3 million eggs a day coming out of the supply chain, you say.
Maury Avenue Southwest in Howard Lake, Stockholm Township at Forsman Farms for a fully engulfed commercial building. Coquito asking for tenders. Time and second page, 2300. Avenue Southwest in Howard Lake, Stockholm Township at Forsman Farms for a fully engulfed commercial building. Coquito asking for tenders. Time and second page, 2300.
Look where that is. I think I know. Okay, that's a little bit further west than I thought it was. Because that's past the cities from me. But, yep, another fire. And a major warehouse. Let's read here from CBS Minnesota. Tens of thousands of chickens killed in Wright County egg farm fire, from Kirsten Mitchell. Massive flames burned down a barn with tens of thousands of chickens in Wright County. The fire started late Saturday at Forsman Farms in Howard Lake, causing major damage. The Trebesh family thought that they would spend Saturday night around their bonfire, but just after 10 p.m. they noticed massive flames across the field at Forsman Farms. It was unbelievable how quick it grew. It was insane, Andy Trebesh said. It was the whole sky. It was quite large. They called 911. Firefighters from multiple agencies across Wright County showed up. Many volunteer firefighters. A barn housing tens of thousands of chickens was leveled in what a farm spokesperson says is a tragic accident. According to Forsman Farms website, the farm started in 1918, and now the fourth-generation family farm sells more than 3 million eggs a day to some of the nation's largest retailers. Overnight, the fire destroyed one of our barns at our Howard Lake farm. No one was injured, and we're grateful that the first responders were quickly on the scene to put out the fire. Unfortunately, the chickens were lost because of the fire. We are evaluating the extent of the damage, which appears to be confined to a single structure, as well as investigating the cause of the fire, a Forsman Farms spokesperson said. Cocado resident Eddie Olson heard about the fire on his scanner that he typically uses during severe weather. Fires are scary in general, but when you think you see something of that scale, out of control. It was just hard to, to think about the chickens. The companies, already put people that work there, Olson said. It's kind of hard hit because we're already struggling, with the eggs and the cost of stuff, and that takes kind of a bite out of the market. No, that takes a pretty significant bite out of the market. So, and of course we always apologize for the loss to property and livelihood to these people, but man, another food processing facility has been hit by a disaster under the Biden admin. That's going to make a staple of so many things that we eat even more expensive. Are you ready to eat the bugs yet? Live in the pod, eat the bugs. What else do we have? We'll get through a few more of these, and then we'll do thing I like and thing that I hate. Jill Biden to host unveiling of Nancy Reagan's stamp. From Brett Samuels. First Lady Jill Biden next week will help unveil a new postal stamp to honor former First Lady Nancy Reagan, the White House announced on Wednesday. Dr. Biden will host the event on Monday at the White House. She'll be joined by Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, Fred Ryan, the chairman of the Board of Trustees, and the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation, and Ann Peterson, who is Nancy Reagan's niece. As First Lady, Reagan founded the Just Say No anti-drug program as her major initiative and promoted the awareness campaign to children throughout her husband's 2 terms in office. She also previously served as First Lady of California while her husband was governor. Reagan died in 2016 at age of 94. A handful of other First Ladies have been honored with U.S. Postal Service stamps, including Eleanor Roosevelt, Martha Washington, Dolly Madison, and Lady Bird Johnson. And everybody's pissed right now. Not because it's Nancy Reagan, although her effect in the drug war put damage to many, many parts of this country, but because it's Louis DeJoy. Let's read from The Blaze. Liberals lash out at Jill Biden over stamp honoring Nancy Reagan during Pride Month. I am so fucking done. Yeah, that's the other side of that too, is because of, the AIDS thing that happened with Ronnie. From Carlos Garcia. Many people on the left were furious. Well, that's not a news story, that's the name of the paper. And outraged over a seemingly innocuous announcement that the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, will reveal a United States postal stamp honoring the late Nancy Reagan. I don't know why I'm having such a mushmouth day today, but... The White House released a statement saying the First Lady would unveil the stamp on Monday at the White House along Reagan's niece, Ann Peterson. Some took the occasion to take shots at Reagan based on criticism about the response of the Republican admins to the AIDS crisis. In the 80s, they noted the announcement was especially offensive because it was made on the first day of Pride Month. I am so fucking done. Have fun honoring the AIDS denier with the man who fucked up the post office so badly To help Trump win the election, that my dad still can't get a birthday card sent to his grandchildren out of his local post office in Purple, PA, tweeted feminist activist Elizabeth McLaughlin. Oh, she sounds charming. Oh look, the White House is honoring Nancy Reagan for a stamp. Announced on this, the first day of Pride, replied another critic. Remember, Pride did not start in celebration, it started in defiance. People against people just like the Reagans. They had the blood of 1,000 queer people on their hands. Beginning Pride Month by honoring the most homophobic and violently so administration the country has ever seen, read another popular tweet. Jill Biden is celebrating Pride Month by honoring a monstrous and unrepentant homophobe who went out of her way to make a bunch of gay people suffer and die, said another critic. And the last one, to announce this on the first day of Pride is a slap in the face to everyone we lost and everyone who still mourns them, while that vile garbage woman was in the White House. Forever fuck Nancy Reagan and forever fuck this announcement, read another popular tweet. These people sound so charming, don't they? What the hell is that? Holy shit. Yeah, about that. Here's more about the Biden statement.
And the White House is aiming to spotlight voices of the LGBTQI+ community. President Biden is calling on Congress to pass the Equality Act, championing freedom and equality for LGBTQI+ people. This comes as some states across the country continue to pass increasingly anti-LGBTQI+ legislation. The White House said it's laser focused on fighting all anti-LGBTQI+ bills. Pride Month 2022 will focus on protecting, uplifting, and supporting LGBTQI+ children and families.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out.
Thank you, George Snuffleupagus. All right. So, that's what they're mad about. Oh, we'll do this one. Disclose.tv. Just in, U.S. Cyber Agency issues warning to election officials. Hackers could exploit vulnerabilities in Dominion voting systems devices used in 16 states. And the rest of us stare in Trump. This is an actual article from the Associated Press. Cyber Agency, voting software vulnerable in some states. From Kate Brumback. They're already ready to come back out and try to tell you that the 2022 election was stolen. Because of the evil Dominion voting machines. And by the way, where is the lawsuit from Dominion against the Associated Press? I wonder. Electronic voting machines from a leading vendor used in at least 16 states have some software vulnerabilities that leave them susceptible to hacking if unaddressed. The nation's leading cybersecurity agency says in an advisory sent to state election officials. What? The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency said there is no evidence the flaws in the Dominion voting system's equipment could have been exploited to alter election results. The advisory is based on testing by prominent computer scientists and expert witnesses in a long-running lawsuit that's unrelated to the false allegations of the stolen election pushed by former President Trump after his 2020 election loss. The advisory, obtained by the Associated Press in advance of its expected Friday release, details 9 vulnerabilities and suggests protective measures to prevent or detect their exploitation. Amid a swirl of misinformation and disinformation about elections, CISA seems to be trying to walk the line between not alarming the public and stressing the need for election officials to take action. My God. And I saw what this was, and thank you, Arbold, for making a meme about this, to where I looked at this, because I know exactly what this is. No matter how many crises they try to throw at the American people, the Democrats are going to get slaughtered in November. And by the way, if it does miraculously somehow turn around and go in their favor, like the gas prices come down and they come out and they finally say that, oh, hey, Biden actually has something to do with the gas prices, vote for us. Then it's going to be that these are the most secure. This article is going to be scrubbed, which, by the way, let's prevent that from happening. All right, that's already been archived. But this article is going to get scrubbed. People are going to call the Internet Archive a racist organization. And we will find out that it was the freest and fairest election in history. Second freest and fairest, only next to the 2020 election. Honk honk. But if they get slaughtered, like all the numbers say that they're going to, and they even get the votes in the Senate to, which I don't think they can, but to impeach and remove President Biden, which again, I don't think they can. I don't think there's enough seats open for them to do that. Then the writing is on the wall already. It was Russia. It was stolen. Oh my God. 2022 was stolen. And this article is going to be back on the front page of everything. All right, what else do we have? Quiet crowd today. Yeah, we can do a couple more. Education Department to cancel $5.8 billion in debt for students of Corinthian colleges. The largest ever loan forgiveness action by the Education Department will affect about 560,000 borrowers. From Zoe Richard. The Biden admin on Wednesday announced the largest student loan forgiveness step by the Education Department with the cancellation of $5.8 billion in federal student loans for hundreds of thousands of students who attended schools affiliated with Corinthian colleges. The action will erase the debt for about 560,000 borrowers who are enrolled in the for-profit Everest, Heald, and Wyotech colleges, which Corinthian owned or operated before it folded in 2015 following an investigation by the Education Department. Borrowers do not have to take any action to have their loans forgiven, the agency said. This is actually an older story, but they're just bringing it back up here right now to say, hey, see? Biden's doing something. In a news release Wednesday, the Education Department said it is also working on new regulations that will permanently improve a variety of the existing student loan relief programs, significantly reduce monthly payments, and provide greater protections for students and taxpayers against unaffordable debts. An investigation the Education Department led in 2014 found that Corinthian misled students by inflating job placement rates. Yeah, well, so did UTI. The company, which once operated 105 campuses in 25 states, effectively collapsed in 2015 and was forced to close or sell its campuses after the Education Department began withholding federal loan funds. So, yes, for the people who went to these bait-and-switch colleges, as we're saying, they'll get something. But you, who went to the state school for the underwater lesbian basket weaving degree, you will get nothing, and you will like it. From the New York Post, Russia holding nuclear drills after Biden sends rockets to Ukraine. Because that's exactly what we need coming into a midterm. From Snejana Faberov. Russia's nuclear forces are holding drills northeast of Moscow Wednesday, a day after President Biden announced plans to send advanced nuclear missiles, just advanced missiles, not nuclear missiles, to the Ukraine. Some 1,000 Russian soldiers are taking part in intense maneuvers, using more than 1,000 vehicles, including Yars intercontinental ballistic launchers, Russia's independent news agency Interfax reported, citing the country's Ministry of Defense. The drills are taking place in the Ivanovo Oblast, about 160 miles northeast of Moscow. The drills, which are aimed at preparing the missile systems for combat, require the troops to march more than 60 miles, camouflage the equipment, and post guards, according to Russian news site mikvinovo.ru. The training exercise also involved Typhoon M armored counter-sabotage vehicles, which are equipped with remotely operated weapon systems. The nuclear drills in Russia come after Biden published an op-ed in the New York Times, a former newspaper, on Tuesday, in which he announced his admin will send anti-tank missiles, anti-aircraft missiles, and precision rocket systems to Ukraine. He is begging for something that will suspend the election, I promise you. We have moved quickly to send Ukraine a significant amount of weaponry and ammunition so they can fight to continue to launder our money and be the strongest possible position at the negotiating table with the money that we temporarily have in there, because we're laundering it through them, Biden wrote. The president stressed that the new weapons are not to be used against targets in Russia. And yet, what do you think? In a situation where Ukraine is in the middle of a battle with Russia, what do you think that those are going to get used for? You better not use those against Russia, man. Come on, Vladimir. If you use those against Russia, I'll get the bike chain, man, and it'll be wrapped around my knuckles, and we'll go talk behind the woodshed, man. Come. What power do you think that you have to prevent this? You senile old coot. I would just like to remind, hold on. I want to remind our friends over in Russia where Washington, D.C. is and who the people that they're actually mad at are. So just a reminder, they changed the name on the map for strategic purposes to protect everybody, but this is where Washington, D.C. is, right here. You can see it out there. Big blue body of water out to the west. Right down over there. That's where D.C. is. And the last one we'll do before we do Thing I Like and Thing That I Hate is, just with everything else that's happening, I thought this would be entertaining to come back and see. This is not the thing that I like, but, well, we can kind of call this an adjacent thing that I like, because I kind of like this. That all the rest of the mainstream news is turning their backs on the Biden admin. NBC News writes, inside a Biden White House adrift. Amid a rolling series of calamities and sinking approval ratings, the president's feeling lately is that he just can't catch a break and that angst is rippling through his party. That's because every time they try to fix something, they make it worse. Just get out of the way and let the rest of America figure it out for ourselves. That's what our country was founded on. The freedom to figure it out for ourselves. From Carol E. Lee, Peter Nicholas, Kristen Welker, and Courtney Kube. Faced with worsening political predicament, President Joe Biden is pressing aides for a more compelling message and a sharper strategy while bristling at how they've tried to stifle the plain-speaking persona that's long been one of his most potent assets. By plain-speaking persona, do you mean, oh, we are united under the idea of Truman and Mr. Baba. Truman and Professor. Or how about the plain speaking persona? I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids at the pool, they like to jump up on my lap and rub it down and watch the hair pop up as it dried. And that was the summer that I learned about roaches. Biden is rattled by his sinking approval ratings, and he's looking to regain voters' confidence that he can provide the sure-handed leadership that he promised during the campaign, people close to the president say. Nobody is expecting Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. to have sure-handed leadership. They just expect him to not tweet mean things. Crises have piled up in ways that have at times made the Biden White House look flat-footed. Record inflation, high gas prices, a rise in pinko pox case numbers, and now a Texas school massacre. That's one more horrific reminder that he's been unable to get Congress to pass legislation to curb gun violence. While he could also command the FBI to stop perpetrating these things, Democratic leaders are at a loss about how we can revive his prospects by November, when midterm elections may cost his party control of Congress. No, will cost his party. There is, with the exception of Hong Kong on a scale that has never been seen before, there is no way for them to have a White House or a Capitol Hill in their favor. It is statistically impossible, unless there's Hong Kong, at a scale not seen before. I don't know what's required here, said James Clyburn, South Carolina, whose endorsement in the 2020 presidential primaries helped rescue Biden's struggle in candidacy. No, that's not what did that. That was everybody dropping out all at once, and all their votes coalescing behind Biden to make sure that Bernie Sanders didn't walk the fuck away with it. Dang it! I did it again. But I do know the poll numbers have been stuck where they are for far too long. Speculation is churning that Biden could shake up the West Wing staff, although it's not about to happen right away. Multiple people close to the White House say they've heard that Chief of Staff Ron Klain will depart at some point after the midterms, and no one has heard him discuss. Heard him discuss leaving. Should Klain go, a potential successor is Anita Dunn, a White House advisor and Biden confidant, whom he often turns to when his fortunes look bleak. Dunn began working at the White House at the start of the term, then left and returned in early May at Biden's specific request. No woman or person of color has ever been the White House Chief of Staff since the position was created after World War II. Another historic first! Other possible replacements include Steve Ricchetti, a longtime Biden aide who was a counselor to the president, and Susan Rice, the domestic policy chief of staff after he lost Virginia's gubernatorial race. Last year, Terry McAuliffe spoke to the White House about taking a senior role as an advisor to the president. Cabinet Secretary, Chief of Staff, people familiar with the matter said. The White House didn't make Klain or Dunn available for comment. Remy Yamamoto, the senior White House communications advisor, said, as Ron has said publicly, he has not set a time frame, and this is not a discussion on top of anyone else's mind here. Yeah, he's floundering. He's failing because he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't have strong leadership. He has a group of advisors for the climate agenda, for the war agenda, for the money laundering agenda in Ukraine, telling him what it is that he needs to sign his name for, and then carting him back off in another wheelchair to either give another bad speech where he messes up his words and doesn't take questions, or to go back and have his bran muffin in Delaware again. And for all the time that he spent in Delaware, by the way, why aren't we talking about this when we talked about the golf course constantly during the Trump admin and not during the Obama admin? The Biden admin has failed. Plain and simple. It is over. It is done. So let's just sit and continue to see where everything goes. Let's see if we can't get him caught with his hand in a cookie jar with Bernie for Isma. And let's call it out for that. All right. It is 9:30, which means I've got to head out of here. But before we do, we are going to do a thing that I like and a thing that I hate. So, as we found out with the playlist being gone for a few days, we went out and found other playlists, which means also that we had to find playlists that don't pop us for copyright, and I have found one here. So what you are listening to today is from Cyberworks. Work Music Lab is the name of the channel. I have subscribed to this channel. This playlist is Music for Work, Productive Music Playlist, Future Garage. And just like what we see with the Game Chops, they only have one background for this, which is a robot working on some sort of holographic projection. But it's a new set, and it's not video game themed, which, that's my big thing, is video game themed, because I love video games and I always have. But it's still it's a calm background. It's good for having on around the house for work while you're, doing dishes or stuff like that. It's good for having on while you're working throughout the day. It's just subtle enough in the background that you don't have to, it's not distracting you from what you're doing. But it pumps you up. The beats where they're at right now, they thread together seamlessly. I don't even know where one song started and one finished. But Chill Music Lab is the channel. The playlist is Music for Work, Productive Music Playlist. They've got a Tony Stark work playlist. They've got playlists for sleep. And again, it's not going to be stuff that you recognize off of this, but it's still going to be a fun one. I like this playlist, and I will continue to use it on and off in the future. I know, and this one it's another one too, where it's a long enough playlist that, you don't hear the same song over and over again, like when we do the Star Wars playlist, which I like the Star Wars playlist, don't get me wrong, but it's only like 40 minutes long. We typically do a 2-hour show, which I still can't believe. I can't wrap my head around the fact that I'm saying those words. When Jake and I incepted this show years and years ago, it was supposed to be a 20-minute thing where we went through the headlines and got through, but they just keep cramming more headlines in. And again, I don't regret it for a moment. So, oh yeah, the chat. Yeah, they get hit by the spam bots pretty hard. So they get hit by the spam bots constantly. And of course, the spam bots have the titles. All right, now let's do a thing that I hate. Thank you, Goats and Scars, for that. All right, Chicago shootings. 47 shot, 9 fatally over Memorial Day weekend, CPD says. CPD Superintendent David Brown says violent crime is down after the most violent Memorial Day weekend in the city in recent years. Yes, it's down. That's why 47 are shot, 9 fatally over Memorial Day weekend. And this is the kind of stuff, we don't get this news. We hear about the 18-year-old who took the long rifle and killed a bunch of kids in Texas. We hear about the hospital shooting. We hear about the Buffalo shooting. Perpetrators that pass as white, or are white, depending, who used the evil, scary, long black rifle and went and bought one out on the 18th birthday. Not a word about what's happening here, which is handgun violence mostly, concealed and gang violence. Black on black crime even. Oh, can we even say a black on black crime anymore, or will that get us shut down on YouTube? A violent weekend kicked off the unofficial start of summer in Chicago. It was one of the most violent Memorial Day weekends we've had in recent years. Despite the fact that Chicago police took extra measures ahead of Memorial Day holiday, including canceling days off, 47 people were shot between Friday and Monday. 9 of them died. I will note that, Goats and Scarves. I didn't even think about that when I brought it over from the other window, which, typically in this screen over here to my left, you guys typically don't see what's going on over here. you see what's in front of me, directly in front of me. The monitor for the show is over here. But the live chat and like if I need to do a quick lookup or something, that's all over here. And then I bring it over into the center screen where that's what you're seeing is my center screen. The one that's got the webcams on it, ironically enough. The number of people who were killed this year is triple that of the same weekend last year when 32 people were shot and 3 were killed. But with the city now fully open and some 40 big events drawing hundreds of thousands downtown over the weekend, Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown said Tuesday that violent crime is actually down. Our work is never done. It's never been done. One crime is too many, Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown said. Our results thus far have been highlighted with this hard work. In one of the most recent shootings, police said a 19-year-old woman riding a bike near DeSable Harbor was shot around 10 p.m. by a man who had been shouting at her. She was hit in the thigh and taken to the hospital in fair condition. A pair of shootings this weekend in River North left 3 people injured on the west side. There were 2 mass shootings that left several people hurt and 1 person killed. I want to start by thanking the police officers, the CPD, for their dedicated work over the holiday weekend and throughout the summer and many missed moments with their family over the weekend, Brown said. Brown took the tally of the incidences, and despite the violence this weekend, homicides are down 8.53% compared to a year ago, and shootings are down 15.9%. He said guns are being used to resolve personal, petty arguments. Right, but we don't hear about these, and like they say, this happens every day in Chicago. In fact, if I was going to be lying to Putin, I would actually say, I would point to the northeast corner of Illinois and say, hey, here's Washington, D.C., except for the fact that I would be hit with a follow-up for that here. I don't want that. I want the Rockies to block it. But they'll continue to go on and say that the only problem is the rifles. And they'll continue to cite these when they say, we've had a mass shooting every year. We've had this mass shooting every year. Every day this year. There's a mass shooting every day. 4 people died in a shooting event every single day this year. And yet, we'll never hear about this on the news. Except for a local station. And an affiliate that's looking for Chicago news on top of it. We won't hear about what happened on Memorial Day from CNN or MSDNC. They'll come back and tell you more about how somebody in Uvalde used the evil AR-15. So, that's what they say off of that. We'll be talking about Tulsa again tomorrow. It doesn't look like there's any new information yet, or at least there wasn't an hour ago when I looked. So, with that, let's head out of here. And let's not look at the chat over on the work music playlist. Are we done? I think we're done. We are done. We should go hiking sometime. It is fantastic out, by the way, in southern Wisconsin. It is fantastic out here. If I get out of work today, I'm finding a trail somewhere. Which I might get out of work early tonight too. I did last night. Where's my outro music? There it is. So, well, thanks everybody for coming by and chatting in the live chat. Even if we did have the wrong chat in the live stream over for the YouTube music, for the most part of the show, you didn't see the live chat except for the little bit when I tried to advocate for them and realized before thinking about it that yes, that is what's over up on the live chat. So that's a little bit of a gaffe on my part. It happens sometimes. But with that, we're going to head out of here for the day. Thanks everybody who came by and chatted in the live chat, kept us on point and on topic We'll be back here tomorrow reading the live chat too, by the way. The notebook is ready to go take down the names of the people who chatted in the live chat as well. So I'll be doing a little bit of that tonight, making sure that we get the proper thank yous out there for everybody who came by throughout the week and said, hey, at least a little bit of a hi. Even some stickers out there, I think, sometime registered. So always looking forward to that. And the more you guys chat, the more this gets promoted out to other people. So there's more people for you to play with, whether they be leftoids or people who are more aligned with your views. We can go and check out all that as well. Definitely looking forward to seeing you guys here tomorrow. And we'll be looking through some of the live chat, so bring some of your spice tomorrow. Try to refrain from the F word, because I'm trying my hardest to refrain from that so we can try to compete with the AM radio. Looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say tomorrow over here on Contemporary. Looking forward to seeing more of this and looking forward to more headlines and news. And until then, I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Take care.